share a short story with you. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I was awoken. I was awoken while I was sleeping to commotion down in the basement, and my parents were bucking water out because the power had gone out due to a storm. The backup sump pumps didn't kick on, and they had boxes of paperwork that they were required to keep due to regulatory reasons. And they were down there they were so worried that this paperwork was going to get destroyed. And I quickly get brought in to help pail out water. And eventually the power gets back on. And I remember thinking, and when I reflect on this even as an adult, I remember thinking like, kudos to my parents for considering putting in a backup sump pump altogether. But even at that young age, I thought, why would we even store those papers in the basement in the first place? So why did we not consider that risk, right? And so, as I grew up, I really saw my parents lead into those lessons they learned, sometimes the hard way, but ultimately to build a more resilient business. And thinking about that really has brought me to really passionately focus on how do we work with small, medium-sized businesses to better prepare them and really allow them to bounce back after disaster, right? So today, what we're going to be focused on in this session will be looking at how do we define resilience. What do we mean by it, and what are we really trying to do? We're then going to walk through how do we build a resilience. In the latter half of the session, we're going to look at and really apply those lessons that we learned in the resilience activity. And at this point, I'm going to ask for for some participation from the group. So please feel comfortable, and throughout the session, feel comfortable raising your hand, asking questions, shouting out a question, or a concern about what we're talking about. But we're really going to dive deep into how we can apply those lessons in a real world scenario. Then lastly, we're going to talk a little bit about how to learn a little bit more once we're done with this session. So as we get started, we're going to look at how do we define resilience. Sheryl Sandberg, Facebook CEO, really captures it in this quote, where she says, resilience is the strength and speed of our response to adversity. And we build it about strengthening the muscles around our backbone. If we really drill down into what she's saying here and apply it to disaster resilience and crisis planning, we're really looking to build those resilience muscles, right? Through planning, through looking at our risks and really wrapping our hands around them. And ultimately what we want to do is be able to better bounce back after disaster or minimize the amount of downtime that we have because of disruption. So, before we get started, you guys should have all gotten a handout. And your first one should be a resiliency assessment. Let's take a moment to fill out that assessment, just create that baseline understanding where we're at. Did we come into the session with some resilience, or are we starting off
assessment?
brand new?
Yeah, just go sit over there.
So as you guys read through that and start thinking about what resilience means to you in your organization, I'm going to take a quick poll. Who in this room has themselves, their business, or their household ever been challenged by disruption? And that might be a natural disaster, it could be, yeah, exactly. It could be a water pipe breaking, and it could be really anything that really disrupts you or takes you off your feet, and makes you have to think about how am I going to solve for this. So I saw a lot of hands come up, but I think that maybe if we really think about this, a lot of us probably have been disrupted by a disaster of some type. Now, my next question is, how many of you all have taken the time and really been thoughtful about planning for a disruption? That same type of disaster that challenged you when you raised your hand earlier, have we actually been thinking about how to plan for and better prepare our businesses? So, to know, you're not alone. In the United States, the Small Business Administration tells us that less than 1 in 6 small businesses have a business continuity plan. And 1 in 4 small businesses are forced to close, during a disaster, never reopen. But overwhelmingly 94% of small business owners believe that disaster could seriously disrupt their business within the next 2 years. So if we unpack this data a little bit, what this is telling me is there's a perception that business continuity, resilience planning, crisis contingency planning isn't something that small and medium businesses think it's either achievable or necessary for their business. But we then quickly look at the data around how are small businesses impacted when disaster strikes. Well, overwhelmingly, we're finding that small businesses are either closing or they're staying out of business for an extended period of time. So what we want to do today, what we're going to work through this session, how do we apply a simple resiliency mindset to disaster contingency or crisis contingency planning? We're going to do this through a simplistic model where we're going to look at the consequences of disaster. So when we talk about disaster planning, the consequences of disaster, a lot of us think about the disaster itself, or what we believe is disaster, right? You might think of that winter blizzard, that earthquake, or terrorist event, or whatever that might be. But when we think about disaster, we want to think about what are the critical resources that we are losing because that event occurred. And when we think about today, we're going to be looking specifically at 4 critical resources. We're going to be thinking about our people, our facilities, our technology, and our critical third parties. So I want to take a real quick second to do just a little bit of an exercise. So we can all close our eyes and just think about, what is the worst disaster you could ever imagine hitting your business, right? You probably are thinking fire, earthquake, technological issue. I think your mind might quickly go to, well, what am I going to do if I can't access my facility, or my critical vendor is unavailable? Well, those are the questions that we want to ask ourselves today, and really consider how we would plan around and prepare ourselves if those critical resources become unavailable. Then lastly, we're going to ask ourselves, understand your greatest risk potential. Meaning, not each one of these for everybody in the room is going to necessarily be prioritized number 1. Our businesses are all unique. We rely on critical resources in a different way. So we want to understand where we're going to prioritize and put our time, our sweat equity, our resources into better preparing and thinking about how we can really frame our resiliency the best we can use of our business. So over the next few slides, I'm going to walk through each one of these critical resources and just walk through the considerations and questions that you should bring back with you to answer and better start planning for and preparing your business for disruption. So the first critical resource we're going to look at is our people. People are critical to our businesses, and I can't tell you how many large mega businesses I've worked with through significant disasters where I see their leadership team, the first thing they'll ask is, are my people okay? Are their families safe and well? Is their living situation stable? People are always going to be super important during the crisis, and it's always going to be the thing that you think about. So we want to emphasize planning for people prior to crisis occurring. So we're going to want to ask ourselves, how to confidently communicate with your employees. A colleague of mine was working in Boston during the marathon, and she was working for a small business that was located in downtown Boston. And days after, and during the manhunt, her team comes to work. It was probably very risky, dangerous, and their leadership team was struggling to figure out a way to best communicate with all their employees. They hadn't thought about it, they didn't know what to do when a crisis happened, and really connect with everyone. What we want to do when we think about a crisis is we want to be able to lean on the communication channels that we use today that are familiar to our employees So a major disruption in Chicago CTA or I imagine you guys have a lot of construction on your freeways. If something were to happen to really disrupt your employees' ability to get to you, that becomes its own crisis. So what we're trying to do, we'll talk about throughout these critical resources, is not create a crisis within a crisis, right? So understanding how to commute, and if something occurs, you can put a plan in place to better reduce the impact on your own operations. Then lastly, you might be asking yourselves, well, I don't have employees. What if I'm a one-person business? This might make this the most important question to ask. And that's where I think we start considering insurance. Consider speaking with your agent, understand what insurance you might have, and talk a little bit about disaster disruption insurance, right? So that's coverage that will support you in the event that you're unable to come to work for whatever crisis might occur, and it'll provide the support during the duration of your outage. The next critical resource that we want to consider is facilities. So your facilities are interesting. They're going to probably hold your greatest amount of risk. So understanding your risk environment is critical to understanding how to plan for disruption or build resilience. And this could be anything from your facility being located on a low-lying flood-prone area. It could mean that the factory that sits next door has a high potential for explosion, right? It could be a lot of things, but knowing your risk environment is super important because once you know your risk environment, then you can plan for an alternative, a strategy or a workaround to ensure that even if this worst-case scenario does occur and impact that facility, that place where you are relying on, you're able to respond and really essentially pivot or work towards that next option within your planning. That could be working remotely from a coffee shop in your home, or it could mean prepping your facility to take on a greater amount of risk. For instance, installing a generator in the event that you're heavily relying on utility power. And lastly, you want to consider things that might fall just on the periphery of your facility. So we like to always think about, are you relying on parking spaces for your employees or your vendors or customers, or are you relying on docking space behind your facility to bring in those raw goods and materials, right? So if those are things that you rely on, we want to make a consideration. What is the alternative, or what is that workaround in the event that they're no longer there? So when we think about these, and again, we think about this in people, and we'll think about this in facilities, what do we do when they're disrupted, right? So your next critical resource that we're going to talk about is technology. The first kind of guiding principle that I always think about when we're working with technology is what is at the heart of your business. If you're a company that your income is dependent on being online, for instance, you're an e-commerce business and you need to be online, and technology is at the heart, you might consider a more complex approach to technological disruption. But if you're not as reliant on technology, your business isn't 100% supported by technology, a much more simplistic approach would be had. Now, we're going to want to first understand how do we get support when our technology is disrupted. And it sounds silly, and it sounds like something that we should all, just know, right? I can't tell you how many IT disasters could have been solved if we just had the help desks for each of our software service or applications that we rely on just documented in a centralized place. Understanding who to call when your technology stops working is so important, and it's always one of those things where I think we forget about because we think it's just such a common sense type of strategy. Now lastly, we want to back up your data. I'm probably not the first person to say that, even maybe in methods of that, but backing up your data is so important. Big or small, we want to make sure that we're using some type of service or capability to encrypt and transfer our data somewhere offsite. So when disaster strikes and your hardware and your systems are unavailable, you can still reach our data, and then that downtime is significantly reduced. critical third parties. Now, a critical third party is any vendor or supplier that provides you with a resource that you're dependent on. And that might be a raw material, it could be a service, it could be anything that you're dependent on. The first thing we want to think about when we think about critical third parties is identifying your single points of failure. A single point of failure is going to be a vendor or supplier that you only have one. If they become disrupted or unavailable, these suppliers or vendors become extremely disruptive to your organization or your business. Once you identify your failure or those vendors that you don't have an alternative to, you want to start thinking about who else can provide those services. So that's when you want to make sure that you know your vendor community. Knowing your vendor community is important in so many ways, even beyond resiliency, but that allows you to find alternate vendors that provide similar or the same type of service or good for your business to operate. Now, once you identify those alternates, you want to document it. Because in a crisis, you want to have an easy, quick way to reference who can support you in those ways that you don't necessarily are unable to provide yourself, and this vendor community might be able to support you. Once you document that, you also want to ask the question, how resilient are your vendors? Now, asking them if they have a business continuity plan or a resiliency plan, that's a common practice and you should feel empowered to do so. And they'll show you. They want to ensure that they're providing seamless service. Then lastly, you want to look at the service level agreements. Now, a service level agreement in resiliency, through the resiliency lens, allows you to understand the contractually agreed upon downtime. So you look, this is often in software service types of agreements, but whatever you're looking at, a lot of times the service level agreement will tell you, we might be down for a couple hours, a couple of days, and once you understand what you've agreed upon, then you can start planning for that outage or that downtime so that it doesn't become as disruptive. Now, I know I went through a lot of information very quickly about a lot of different critical resources. Before we move on to the activity, does anybody have any questions? No? Yes?
I do.
Oh, please.
Universal Studios just lost all their Nirvana, all of their jazz, all of everything they have due to a fire. And I can't understand how they couldn't back up their data.
I'm sure a lot of people are asking the same question. So that they could, right? Now, when you look at, we can talk more offline, but when you think about how you back up your data, there's a lot of intellectual property or things like that. There's a complexity that can go into about where are you storing it, how is it being stored, and who has access to it, right? That might be the question, what was their biggest barrier? And there's a way to overcome that, they just didn't see the risk in it, right?
How could they not protect such valuable assets for the world?
Agreed, right? And there's simple solutions that they could have employed to protect it, right? Because if you have a structure fire and all your servers are holding only set of data, and this is applicable to anybody that's managing data, if it's just in one place, the risk of it being lost is really high, right? So, because a fire comes through a flood, whatever, you have a meltdown on your server, it's no longer accessible. So in your example, now if they had replicated in a data center, say in Colorado Springs or in Oregon or wherever, it's very, very far away, it would have been safe, right? We would have been able to, enjoy it seamlessly, right? Because that one goes down and they can access to the next one. And that's a great example of a lesson learned, right? I'm sure they won't fall in that trap again. Yeah.
Hope not.
Yeah, right? Any other questions?
Yes, I was just wondering if Facebook does have tools to address all of these crises.
Absolutely, and I'm gonna touch on that in a second. But my broader team, that's what we work on, right? Our day-to-day work is ensuring that Facebook is resilient to disaster and disruption. So what we're about to go into is a resiliency activity, and this is what we're going to work through is a simulated hypothetical disaster scenario. I'll present a scenario to you all. We'll talk through some questions and really get your guys engaged on how you would prepare your businesses or organizations and respond to a disruption itself. This exact type of exercise is the type of discussion and exercise that we have at all levels at Facebook and at many major corporations. What I think is interesting here is being able to have this conversation at a major corporation like Facebook doesn't mean that we shouldn't be having them in our medium and small size businesses, right? Because being able to think through your plans and really, and even just going through an exercise with a hypothetical scenario allows you to say, well, I hadn't considered that, or this is something that I should really pay attention to because when I work through this mental exercise, we're able to identify risks that we might not have thought of initially. So as we move through this activity, what I'm going to do here is walk you through two separate parts of a disaster. And I asked for just a couple ground rules. So we're going to assume the scenario is real. We're going to assume that it's impacting your business. I'm going to ask you to ask questions, not just as needed, but whatever comes to mind, shout out questions. And then I'm going to ask you to actively participate. So if you're not participating, I'm going to be calling on you to participate. So just know that it's going to be high engagement type of. You guys ready to get started? Fantastic. All right, so this is scenario one. On Thursday, February 7th at 9 a.m., you all early risers here, you've turned on your radio, you've heard a weather warning for tomorrow. Chicagoland area is going to get 10 to 12 inches of snow in 24 hours with wind gusts up to 55 miles per hour. And I know this might be an average Tuesday in February for you all. But bear with me, we'll get this a little later going here. The temperature may reach 10 degrees. What's not on here is we have 55 mile per hour wind, so it's going to get pretty cold and wind chill, right? Your regional transit's warning already the day before that, hey, we might have outages. And ComEd's already probably sent you a note saying your power's going to go out. Be warned, right? So when we think about this, we have a great opportunity here. This is what we call a notice event, right? We know it's going to happen. Or there's a good chance that it'll happen. So we have an opportunity to start thinking about how do we prepare those critical resources we just spoke about so that we minimize or eliminate the disruption to our own businesses and our households. And throughout the exercise, I'm going to talk about households as well because I think if we don't prepare ourselves and our households, then we're not in a position to necessarily prepare organizations. But to get started, I'd like to just ask the question to the group, what is your first priority? What are you thinking about when you think about preparing for a blizzard or a winter storm or any type of disaster that might hit your community? Please.
And mine is, do I have enough food?
Excellent.
Because I never go grocery shopping. And a lot of places won't deliver.
For sure. Prime now won't necessarily, yeah. That's an important factor. So when you think about preparing yourself, your household, I think it's a great example. And I think this probably happened earlier in the year when the polar vortex come in. I think my dad sent me a picture of an icicle hanging from inside his door, inside his home. But we also see this a lot in the news when hurricanes happen. Lines out the door of Walmart and Target because people are bulking up on supplies. And something that we can do now in June to prepare for February is put an extra stash of food, canned goods away, and really prepare yourselves so that you don't have to be standing in line just to get rations or to survive for a couple of days. But I think that's great. Preparing yourself, preparing your business today around those types of basic Maslow's hierarchy, right?
That's true. Sometimes it'll snow so much that you might get snowed in your own business too. So that's your business have to.
Absolutely. You're hitting on some great points too. And one of the handouts we have today is the resiliency checklist. And so these are things that you can do today. Really think about preparing your business yourself so that you can be better prepared tomorrow when disaster does spread. Does anybody else have any thoughts on how to best prepare those critical resources or themselves the day before the storm strikes? Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know who either has a working fireplace with wood, or if they have their own generator so that they can keep it.
That's a great point. It's something that we often think about in resiliency is knowing your community. knowing your neighbors, right? Because when disaster strikes, we come together, right? And that sense of community is important. And that speaks to both yourselves and your individuals. But when we think about our own businesses, if you have neighbors that you can rely on for support, it'd be great if your neighbor saw floodwaters coming out of your front door. They'd call you immediately, right? Because the pipe burst. Things like that. So getting to know your neighbors, letting them know, hey, I have resources, or maybe you have something that I can use during a disaster reporting. I think that the other thing I wanted to just touch on is you guys are all smart, you're connected to the news, you know that this is happening, but do all your employees, do all your stakeholders know? Are they checking the news? Maybe not. Maybe it's just a normal Tuesday for them and they think tomorrow's going to be sunny. So we want to think about communication and awareness. You want to make sure that you're sending a note out to your employees, but also your other stakeholders. You want your customers to know, hey, this is happening, I might be disrupted. I might not be able to ship product tomorrow, I might not be able to support you. So making them aware is very important. And then you want to think about your other critical resources as well. Is there a way that you can better prepare them for this disruption? And that might be, kicking off the dust off your generator, or thinking about different things around those other resources so that they're better prepared. Do you guys have anything else you want to add? Anything else you're thinking about when preparing?
Scheduling, like if you have a business, say my business will be closed due to the weather.
I think that's such a great point. When we think about talking with our key stakeholders, so if you're expecting a delivery of a material for tomorrow, it'd be great to call them and say, hey, do you think you can send it today? Or can we schedule it and make sure it's in the queue for when this disruption ends? Because what I think is awesome to think about is, I know in California, I'll get a notice around Christmas time from Amazon saying that there's a blizzard in the Northeast, your package might be delayed. FedEx is FedEx would send out the message. FedEx is a behemoth, right? Even behemoths are being disrupted. So being able to communicate, people understand. They know that a blizzard's coming, but what they don't understand, with the other critical resource we don't have out here, is reputation. And reputation is something that we think about daily. So being able to schedule, being able to talk about how to, and make people aware that this is something that you're considering is super important. And I think that falls within that bucket of communications, right? But really just coordinating all your moving pieces so that you don't have to take on extra responsibility when the disaster might strike. All right, anything else? All right, so we're going to move on to the next, we answered these questions. We're going to move on to the next move. So, if you guys are ready, let's see what happened the next day. Again, you guys are early risers. It's early Wednesday morning. Storm has moved in. We've had widespread power outages. The road crews couldn't keep up, and in many places are impassable, and transit's at a standstill. Local public transit is only operating limited routes. And let's just imagine that it's probably pretty dangerous to even, to walk from your home to the L or to the train station. Might not even be something you want to consider. And lastly, Cook County just sent out a note saying that the water supply was contaminated, it got frozen, it was a real mess, and no potable water, right? So what I think is interesting here is we have a real disruption on our hands for a lot of folks, right? And again, I know this is cold weather isn't necessarily something that's uncommon, but what we think about is even when we have these types of upticks in a typical disaster, we have to think about how do we prepare for when it really disrupts our business. The other thing I think is interesting here, and something we'll dig into in a moment, is we can't plan for everything. So we never talked about not having drinkable water. That's okay, we can't plan for everything. What we can think about, though, is how do we adapt, right? So when we think about once the disaster has struck, thinking about the lessons we learned through walking through those critical resources, what is your first priority now that everything's kind of come to fruition?
Well, I guess the previous day we should have touched base maybe through Facebook with all the stakeholders, like employees and the family and friends, and then the next day, and ask the stakeholders too. So like, just be prepared tomorrow. You might not have to come to work. So then on the second day, we follow up with that. And then if we were prepared, thinking ahead that there might not be potable water the next day, we might have already lined up some suppliers that might be able to donate water, or gotten in touch with them, and then now contact them. Yeah, we need it. We need the water.
That's fantastic. So you've really framed a communications approach, right? So you're making people aware, you're making employees, customers, and vendors aware that you are disrupted, you might not be open, but also we have this type of disruption that we didn't consider, but let's start creating a strategy around how to fulfill that need, which maybe obviously you need water to survive, but also maybe your business is run, maybe you're a bakery, for instance. How do I solve for that? What else? What other priorities, or what other things come to mind once we start thinking about this type of disruption?
One of our clients is an animal shelter, so always make sure that, someone who lives close to the shelter can get in and make sure all the animals are okay still.
Absolutely.
And get them all home that night before.
That's a good point, right? So when we think about, about our own operations and what our responsibilities are, right? And when we think about specifically what is our tolerable amount of downtime? So an animal shelter can't be left unmanaged for an extended period of time. So it might be because of the services you provide. It could be because regulations tell you that you can't be closed, like a bank can't be closed for more than 3 days. Or it could be for some other reason, right? Whatever that might be. How long can you tolerate not being there? And then you need it, right? So, maybe having a disaster call tree where you call through, hey, who is able to, check on animals? You might also consider, how do I keep animals warm in extreme cold situations, which I'm sure you probably thought about this past winter. But those are all really important. That's where people come in, right? When we think about the disruption of people, so say you were relying on a small group of folks, and half of those folks become disrupted. Well, how long can you manage your business with only a portion of them, right? So we think about those types of disruptions, and we want to make sure we're planning for an alternate. What else? What other things are you thinking about when we want to begin planning for a disruption like this? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry? So when we think about what you said is afterwards, we want to plan for reopening. Whenever we have a disruption, when we're planning, we always want to think about recovery. We never want to go into planning for a disaster with a fatalist mindset, right? So we want to think, okay, that comes with both looking at those critical resources, and as they're disrupted, how do we bring them back up? But it also comes with communication, right? People want to know you're back up and running, or people want to know when you're going to be shipping your next product, or whatever it might be that you deliver. And I think a great way, and I'll do a Facebook plug here, a great way is to lean on social media, to lean on those channels that you normally communicate with, because people are going to be looking for you through those channels. What else? Anybody else have any thoughts?
We still have to think about the structure too. For instance, if there's too much snow accumulating on the roof, we have to somehow get someone to get the snow off the roof, otherwise it will collapse.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought up your facility, right? What she said is we want to make sure that there's not too much weight or snow on the roof because it could create a collapse, right? So when we think about our facilities, we've probably done a lot of thought thinking about, before the disaster happens, I've prepped my facility. You might have installed some additional things to make it more resilient. But when the storm happens, especially when you have heavy rain or you have heavy snow, you want to think about, well, how do I make sure that the ongoing effects of that disaster aren't impacting my physical location, right? And that's a great opportunity to eliminate or minimize ongoing disruption. So often the dust settles and people forget about the disaster itself, and we're still managing issues for days, weeks, months, in some cases years later. Anything else? So, great, you guys have been amazing, and I appreciate all your participation and really thinking through this. I mentioned earlier that this is something that even big businesses, work through, right? So when we think about planning, we think about how do we come together, as an organization to really build resilience. Something that we want to make sure that we're doing is testing and really driving awareness around the plans that we make, right? So if we do it in a vacuum, we don't tell our employees or our customers or whomever our key stakeholders are, these plans aren't going to be as successful when we actually go out and have to use them in the event of a real disaster, right? So I want to just think about that. So what we're doing today is super important from thinking through the different elements of disruption. We want to make sure that we bring this back with us and really practice and exercise and drive awareness around it within our own organizations. So you got a few handouts today. We debriefed a little bit, but I want to bring up one more thing now. When we connect between the critical resources and the lessons that we just learned through this activity, we want to make sure that we're thinking about those other resources that rely on. So I know I identified some fairly general critical resources, but when I mentioned earlier, know your highest risk potential, we want to make sure when we think about these exercises, if your biggest risk might not be one of those four pillars of resilience, we want to make sure we're thinking about them. That might be, data privacy because you're storing a lot of intellectual property, or whatever that might be. You want to think about those things and really drill into them and consider the risks and the alternatives you can use when those critical resources are disrupted. So the exercise and activity is completed. Do you guys have any questions just in general around the activity? No? So you have 3 handouts that we're giving today. Use the first one, which is your self-assessment. And I encourage you to really think through those questions in there and understand where yourself and your organization fall within a resiliency spectrum. I also want to call your attention to the quick action guide. So it's something we didn't bring up in this conversation today, but this is going to be your introductory plan, if you will, to start documenting and planning the lessons that we learned today, right? So it will guide you through basic response and recovery within the first 12 to 24 hours for disruption. It's quick action guidance, right? So this is something in fact you can take back to your office and start planning for resiliency after this session. And then lastly, there's a checklist within that packet. That checklist is what we talked about a moment ago. It's something that we can think about today. Start preparing in June for a disaster that might happen in December. So with that, the session concludes. So if you guys have any questions in general about resiliency, we can talk about it now, or I'll be available after as well. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.